Let's now go to Susan McDonald, the Shadow Resources Minister, joining us live from Brisbane. Good to talk to you again, Susan. I want to get straight to the gas shortage, the energy crisis in this country. Another warning out today from the Australian energy market operators saying we need more gas into the system. This does my head in. We're endowed with gas right across this country. We've got Labor going slow on approval for the North West Shelf. We've got the Victorian government stopping any exploitation or exploration in Victoria. We've got a massive gas field out around Narrabri, New South Wales, that keeps being stymied. I mean, we are literally jumping on gas, but we won't exploit it. We need to. How would the coalition fix it?
Well, it is an absolutely crazy situation for so many reasons, Chris. But as you've identified, this has been a gas shortage that has been looming since Labor started their terrible gas market interventions 3 years ago. We have been warning every year that this crisis is getting ever closer, and it is not for the lack of gas, not for the lack of willing drillers and companies willing to invest. In fact, I spoke to a company yesterday who has been sitting on a production licence application for 10 years for great gas that they know is in the ground in Victoria, would absolutely be supplying households and businesses and energy production. But the Labor government there has absolutely refused to allow them to proceed. So at the same time that we have this crisis of gas, this shortage, we have the federal Labor government refusing to honour the approvals that the Western Australian government has made for the expansion of the North West Shelf, a process, a plant that has been, or a field I should say, that has been operating for 40 years, a very well understood region and part of the world, producing gas for the Western Australian market. So to have the Western Australian Resources Minister, Labor's only minister, only cabinet minister, not going out and supporting Western Australia, the expansion of that gas field, beggars belief. But what else can you expect from a government that...
Sure. Now, that's mainly for export, right? And that's massive. It's a huge issue and it's got to be fixed, but that's mainly for export. But to power the national electricity grid, that means we need gas on the eastern seaboard. We need more gas generation here. Now, this one you can divorce from the big energy debate, because whether we can actually power ourselves eventually largely with renewables, which I don't think in an engineering sense we can. But if you want to argue that, or we'll get to a lot more nuclear eventually, regardless of which option you go down, we need massive amounts of gas generation in the meantime and into the future. So where are we going to get that gas from? How can you get the state governments in particular to give the approvals?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Look, a huge amount of gas does come out of the North West Shelf to power Western Australia, even though a lot goes to export, that's correct. But you're right, the main game is on the East Coast. We have 143 petajoules per annum, which is available to be extracted in the Victorian and New South Wales fields. That's been clearly identified. I've been speaking to those producers. They're ready to go with the right approvals. That is all available for the domestic market. None of that gas goes to the export market. And in Queensland, we saw the Atlas field come on last year. That'll be 100 petajoules of gas just for the domestic market. As I said, we have to get Labor, get out of the way. Stop trying to manage demand down to, or supply down to demand, because demand is increasing. Electricity and energy requirements are increasing.
Just briefly, apart from more gas, a lot more gas into the market to lower prices and increase supply, we obviously need more gas generation, don't we? There's the Kurri Kurri plant coming on in New South Wales, but surely we're going to need 2 or 3 plants at least as large as that added to the generation capacity of the national electricity market.
That's exactly right. And under the coalition, we would be encouraging that, adding gas back into the capacity investment scheme, ensuring that there is more gas being used to replace retiring assets currently, but ensuring that we're meeting our increasing need for electricity in the near term and longer term. And of course, nuclear, as we've always said, zero emissions, a great long-term solution for
but we're going to need a lot of gas to get there in the meantime.
Thanks for joining us, Susan.
Sorry to cut you off, Susan McDonald there, joining us live from Brisbane.